Chapter 5. Michael. This won't do. It will hide my face too much. Ooh, that mask is gorgeous. But will it match my dress, do you think? I'm so excited to get to dance with the prince. Michael tugged his hood a little lower over his face. He was grateful to Oliver for lending him the simple cloak. It made him much less noticeable in this crowd. Can you believe it? A royal ball? Oh, I hope he chooses me. Ha! As if. Axel leaned toward him.
It would seem you are quite popular these days, Michael.
Hush, Michael hissed back. He glanced around the crowded marketplace, but thankfully it was noisy enough that no one noticed his friend's comment. Why do you think we're dressed down? Instead of taking offense, the Ralnoran prince threw back his head and laughed.
I thought you liked the ladies.
Not when they're acting like a pack of ravenous wolves, he ground out. Especially when I'm the prey. Well, I can certainly see why you wanted our help, Katie said lightly from Axel's other side. She stepped closer to avoid a gaggle of young women who were more interested in their conversation than in where they were going. Did you hear the prince from Ralnor is visiting? Do you think he'll be at the ball too? I hope so. That would give us 2 chances. Katie paused, turning to glare at the speakers. If they think they're going to get my... Axel placed a hand on her shoulder, gently restraining her.
Calm down, my love. They are simply misinformed on a couple of points.
He waggled his eyebrows at her. Ignoring his friends, Michael tried to concentrate on the faint whiff of scented meat that he caught from a nearby food stand. In warmer weather, such smells pervaded the market, but the still, cold air muted scents. He wasn't hungry, but focusing on aromas as they drifted past helped him to block out the noise of the unusually large crowds. He had been excused from his endless meetings for the duration of Axel and Katie's stay, but the volume in the market was so loud he almost wished he hadn't. Boring his meetings might be, but at least they were quieter. Do you have what you need, Axel? Michael asked grumpily. If you do, let's get out of here.
Someone's cranky,
Axel laughed. Sliding his arm around his wife, he pulled her closer as he grinned at the other prince.
With such lovely weather and exquisite company, it is a mystery to me how anyone of sound mind could be disgruntled with the situation.
Michael glared at him. Your definition of lovely weather needs work.
And the company?
Axel prodded. Michael glanced over his shoulder at the guards trailing behind them. Bertram, Axel's guard, glowered at everyone they passed. In contrast, Oliver, the captain of Michael's guard, maintained a neutral expression, his dark eyes taking in their surroundings without turning his head.
I must confess to enjoying Oliver's company, he casually replied. Pity that he won't walk with us.
As usual, the jab only made his friend laugh heartily.
You'll be pleased to know then, my cranky friend, that I have collected everything. We may return whenever you wish.
Good. Without further conversation, he turned toward the castle, plowing through the crowded marketplace. Axel, with Katie still tucked in his side, followed behind. He was almost to the edge when a young woman stepped suddenly into his path. Not wanting to knock her over, he dodged sideways, causing his hood to slip.
Prince Michael?
The young woman exclaimed. Michael hurriedly pulled his hood back over his face, but not before her hazel eyes caught him. Why are you dressed like that?
Excuse me,
he said, turning away. Maybe if he pretended not to know her, the Duke's daughter would think that she'd made a mistake. Unfortunately, Lady Charlotte's loud voice had attracted attention. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't have minded. As the citizens of Hartford were accustomed to him wandering through the city, most would have simply glanced his way, given him a slight bow or curtsy, and proceeded about their business. Today, however, the market was filled with young women from all over Dara. Most had never seen him before, and all of them were hoping to catch his eye at the dreaded ball the next night. Prince Michael? Another female cried out excitedly. Where is he? He ducked his head and once again tried to flee. Only 50 feet separated him from the edge of the dense crowd, but Lady Charlotte followed. I'm so pleased to see you here. You will look for me tomorrow night, won't you? She said, batting her eyelashes at him. Drawn by her words, the surrounding women began flocking to his position. He watched despairingly as the gaps in the crush collapsed.
Lady Charlotte, he said through gritted teeth, do you think I am dressed as a guard because I wish to be recognized?
Oh! Her eyes widened as she delicately covered her mouth with a gloved hand. She cast her eyes over the mass of women pressing against them.
Have you been trying to avoid these common women who are all so desperate to meet you? Clear the way.
A commanding voice spoke firmly over the clamor as a hand gripped Michael's arm. He gratefully followed in the wake of his forbidding guard captain, a path miraculously appearing before them. Rather than waiting for them, Bertram had steered his charges through the crowd by a separate route. Michael could see Axel and Katie standing just outside the market area. Their constantly harried guard scowled at anyone who walked too close. At last, Oliver pulled Michael free of his adoring fans. One or two bold young ladies tried to follow, but Oliver quickly convinced them to return to their shopping. He used no words. He simply narrowed his eyes and rested a casual hand on his waist, which happened to pull his cloak aside, revealing the sword that hung from his belt.
I suggest a new plan for tomorrow night, Axel said cheerfully. You should hide in your room. They can't mob you if they can't find you.
Since the ball was a mask, the Queen had dispensed with the customary announcement of guests' names. Michael was thankful for the change as he slipped through the door with Axel and Katie. His white trousers, crisp light green shirt, and black waistcoat were of fine quality, but they were not the elaborate black trousers, white silk shirt, and dark purple waistcoat that his parents had intended him to wear that night. The waistcoat he wore didn't even have his family's coat of arms embroidered over the left breast. Mother would have been horrified, had she known. The ballroom was lit by multiple chandeliers, their dazzling lights brought nearer by the long chains supporting them. Off to the left, a string quartet filled the air with sweet strains of music. A long wooden table laden with finger foods and bite-sized desserts sat next to the far wall. Dozens of couples swirled through the center, the ladies' skirts swirling together into a rainbow of colors. And around the edges, countless women milled about, chatting with each other as they sipped drinks from slender glasses. Katie leaned around her husband. "Lighten up," she whispered to Michael. "It's a ball, not your execution."
"Only if I'm not crushed in a mob," he muttered back. "Ah, but that's what I'm here for," Axel jovially interjected, slapping Michael on the back. "Who will be bothered to notice you when they can feast their eyes on me?"
Michael tried not to feel too overwhelmed as his eyes wandered across the crowd. How on earth was he supposed to find compatibility, let alone love, in such a morass?
"It appears we've been spotted," Axel said. His eyes danced behind his mask. Turning to Michael, he instructed, "You take all the ones in green dresses. Katie, you chat up the ones in blue, and I'll start with the ones in red. Closest first."
"Stop being ridiculous," Katie chided, putting her hands on the hips of her red dress. Without looking at either prince, she told Michael, "You go enjoy yourself, and if we find any good ones, we'll send them your way."
"Ridiculous,"
her husband replied, pressing a hand to his chest and pretending offense.
"How can you say such a thing, my—"
"You can't call me that here." She cut him off in a low voice, teeth clenched behind her awkward smile. Acting had never been her strong suit. "You'll give us away." He grinned, reaching for the loose curls by her face before pulling back at the last moment.
"Anything for you, Katie."
He fixed his mouth in a serious expression, overdone in Michael's opinion, and strolled toward the crowd of eager young women. "You'd think with all his acting that he would be better at this," Katie grumbled. "He's as fake as can be right now." Watching as the horde surrounded his friend, Michael shook his head in response.
"I think he's seen how far he can take it. Look at them. That purple waistcoat is all they can see."
Katie sighed. "At least someone will be enjoying himself this evening." Turning back to Michael, she prodded, "Go on. Start searching while no one is looking at you. I'll see what I can do to sift the gold diggers from the diamonds."
"Thanks, Katie," he said fervently.
He watched as she wended her way through the throng, pausing frequently to exchange a few words with one young lady or another. Left to himself, he took a few minutes to enjoy simply being another face in the crowd. No one was bowing to him. No one went out of their way to speak to him. No one presented him with a problem that they hoped he could solve. A few women fluttered their fans at him, trying to catch his eye, but they did the same to every handsome young gentleman in the area. Unlike Axel, Michael had never desired to be free of his position. He was quite content in his role as the crown prince, and he had never shied away from the responsibilities that came with it. But it had been some time since he last slipped the weight of them, and he rarely walked unknown in a crowd. It was a heady feeling. A young woman, attired in a yellow dress with a wide neckline, craned her neck to see over the crowds. She was on the shorter side, with auburn curls drawn up behind her head and countless freckles coloring the exposed parts of her face. "Do you think the prince is here yet? Oh, there's a crowd over there, but I can't see who it is." "You wouldn't know even if you could see," snorted a brunette next to her. "You've never seen him before." The redhead settled back on her heels and glared at her neighbor. "Neither have you. Anyway," she continued, beaming as she surveyed the people around her, "I know he wouldn't dance with me. I just wanted to get a glimpse of him. Do you think we'll get to dance at all? Are there enough men for that?" Encouraged, and somewhat amused by her lack of interest in him, Michael stepped up and bowed as he held out his hand to her.
"May I have the honor of this dance, my lady?"
"Oh!" she gasped, her brown eyes wide. Recovering, she giggled, accepting his hand with a firm grasp. "Certainly, I'd love to. I mean, you may." She gave her friend a small wave as she followed him to the dance floor.
"Have you been to many balls?"
Michael began. Taking her waist, he swept her into the dance. She giggled some more and stumbled a little. Michael grimaced, then quickly hid it. He was a fair dancer, but his partners were usually more familiar with the dance. He wasn't sure how to lead someone who was new at it. "Me? No, I've never been to a ball before. Dances in the square, yes, but those are nothing like this."
"How do you like it so far?"
he asked politely, even though her radiant expression plainly declared her excitement. "It's beautiful," she gushed. "The decorations, the people, the food. Have you tried the food yet? It's beautiful."
"The food is beautiful,"
he repeated, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "Oh, no, it isn't. I mean, it is beautiful, but I meant it tastes really good." Her words fumbled along with her feet. "I mean, just look at those tables. They're beautiful from here and up close, and the food is so good." Perhaps it wasn't the most intelligent conversation that he'd ever had, but it was certainly more amusing than many. After their dance ended and he had formally thanked her for it, he found another young woman to ask, and then another, and another. Since he was picking young women he'd never seen before, he was spared the simpering of his noble ladies. Instead, he was amused, annoyed, bored, disgusted, so many different emotions by turn, depending on the young lady. Some giggled, some sniffed haughtily, some were so nervous they spent the entire dance staring over his shoulder with a frozen smile. Some, like his first partner, were simply pleased to be there. Many were content to spend a song dancing with him, but plainly had their eyes on a larger prize. How ironic. Axel continued to be swarmed by women, nobles and commoners alike. Michael was a bit surprised by the noble women who fawned over the purple waistcoated man. The two princes were similar enough in height that he could understand missing that detail, and Axel was affecting a dark accent. But despite his acting skills, Axel's natural flair for the dramatic made his imitation of Michael more flamboyant than the original. Plus, Michael's build was a bit broader than his friend's. Surely, anyone who truly knew him wouldn't be fooled. Maybe that was the problem. No one did.